Hello and welcome back. So today we want to investigate why this is turning up no results, but this is returning something that could indicate that this should have something. So the first thing I want to do, I think we're at a perfectly okay breakpoint. Um, let's go ahead and log the location of our storage and just investigate there. So self dot accounts controller dot temporary storage URL. So this would be here. Okay, so we're gonna have a number. I don't think we're gonna have all that many iterations, but let's just double check. I guess we do have quite a few. Okay, let's see where we're at. So the current iteration is 13, 23, 29. So this one. And then this is gonna be the list store, and the root is gonna be 13, 23, 26, 642. 26, 642. That's gonna be in here. Okay. And then there's one primary index and one secondary index. And it should only have those entries. Yep. So that makes it easy. Okay, so then all we need to do is check what's in these two things. So no. Yeah, I guess I can open them with. And let's just open them with text code. I think that's gonna be easier to investigate. So that's the main one. Is dirty is true. Okay, so there's no problem with the index, which is a great thing. That means the only issue is with how we're retrieving it, I guess. Let's just double check. Is dirty true? 6606, 6606. Okay. Yeah, so that the underlying storage is fine. There's no problem there. So then where's the issue? Because I can confirm this doesn't exist. Yep, that's nil. This has a true value. And finally, our index, which is this, wants everything that's true between this very small value and this very large value. Okay. So I don't think it's the index. And it might be the ordering in the index. It might be this. Did I mess up? Why are we returning is dirty here? If these are different, no, we want these, if these are the same. I don't need these anymore. Okay, we're paused. So at this point, this is nil, and this is empty. Completely expected. We didn't do anything yet. Okay, now we're just waiting. Now we've made changes. But we are paused, like this is true, or was true. Now we're resumed. So I expect this to be non-nil. Yay! And this to have a value. And that means we go into here, and we actually have something to process, and we actually mark it as clean. Let's just make sure it happens. Yeah. Okay, we did it. Now this should be nil. This should have one entry that's marked as clean, so it's false. And therefore we're just gonna wait. Yep. Okay. And we pass. Great, excellent, just what I want to see. Okay, let's get rid of all these breakpoints before I lose my mind keeping track of them in the future. Okay, we no longer need to print this nor load all this. That was just temporary. Here's more breakpoints. I guess we can just take a look at this. I guess that's actually still useful. Maintenance, nothing to do. Probably useful. Okay, so I think that test is good. Let's commit the fixes. So that was in the list store. And now I'm slightly worried that I have that somewhere else as well. So let's just go through them all. That's an if. Also an if. Also an if. I think when I turn the if into a guard, that's probably when that happened. Okay, this is comparing the names. We want to make sure they're not the same. If they are the same, we fall back to the ID, which is not what we're doing. Otherwise, we have the ID here. Make sure they're equals. Otherwise, go to the next one. Okay, that's one I just fixed. I'm gonna make sure they're equals before going to the next layer. then from here, oh, there's another one. Okay, make sure they're equals. Make sure they're equal. That's one way of doing it. Equal, equal. Equal, equal. Okay. That is a good sanity check. That probably should have been part of a previous commit. That's all staying the same. This might have a change. Oh, this one. Updated list updates to be testable and fixed an issue where they would never be marked as clean. Yeah, and it was two issues. It was this and the other one. If I'm gonna correct the spelling mistake, I better not make it worse. Excellent. And I don't think I have any other loose commits. Nope. Okay. So that is fully testable now. And we make sure that it works. Okay, so what is left? Don't know if I need this. So we implemented these. We implemented these. Implemented That's this and this, and we don't have any of these. Let's add them. And then after we have our entries, then it's time to grab invites, update invites, and then manage the permissions. And then that's all the routes. Then there's blocking and stuff, but that can come slightly afterwards. I mostly wanted to plan for it so that way I can implement it easily. Otherwise, it's always a surprise. Okay. And then there's a second thing. Yeah. I think this should be fine as is. Meaning, when we're migrating accounts, we just go through and update everything. And it takes a while, Yeah, I don't think there's benefit to having that level of indirection. Because then there's a lot of things that you need to update. Let's think about it. We can update entries to use the de facto ID. I mean, everything can use the de facto ID. The only thing where we wouldn't know the de facto ID. That's the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's fine. If we branch out and then update everything, we'll be able. That's account migrations are fairly rare, and when they do happen, it's not going to really happen to an extent where it's like two very large accounts. Okay, so let's just focus on adding these things. Let me load up. This is my sample. Turns out I already wrote an implementation. Let's just double check it. Okay, so for this one, List entries. What are the difference between them? Read-only page requests for ordered user lists. Read-only page requests for ordered list entries. Okay, then we load our account. We have the owner. We do need to make sure I mean, here we're just trusting that we can access any which owner, which is not ideal. Unless, no. So we are checking to make sure, hey, we have a list cursor. So specify an ID was not found. Yeah, this is only useful if you subscribed because we're checking this. Okay. And then from there, we're loading the page by sorted order, loading from the list entries data store for this owner because we made sure, hey, we have an entry here. We should probably also make sure this is not deleted. Sync cursor equals sync cursor dot is deleted. Yeah, make sure it's not deleted. If it is deleted, can't access anymore. I think that's totally reasonable. Okay, so that looks reasonable. This is gonna get interesting because now we're loading entries for different lists and therefore different cursor that belongs to the owner. Okay. Should we tackle committing first? I have a feeling maybe we should, because then those will be a little more easy to manage. Okay, so let's copy this over. List entry changes. Commit list entries, decoded results, request, I mean. Okay, we are loading. We also need to specify the list and the owner. It's gonna be nice and simple. List ID, list.id. Nice and simple. Okay. So we have the owner and the list ID. We're assuming. Are we assuming this? No, because we're doing load account here. Yeah, here we have the owner and the ID. I guess this can come in here, but it'll be after we load the account. List sync cursor. List sync cursor. Yes, we have the list ID. Which we'll probably include here. Depends if we even need user owner. Okay, this is going to be the owner. Let's have another guard here. Guard owner equals the user owner. Else throw abort unauthorized only owners may edit their lists. Import bad Yeah. No changes to be made, just continue. We'll continue. We'll get back to that. Okay. The next sync version is based on the owner, which we've validated is equal to this. So this can still be the user owner. Question is, what's the user owner used for? Not used there. User. Okay. That's used. I do wonder if we take an early exit approach. I mean, we'll need to do this twice. Gonna need to do something twice. Okay, I think that should be fine. Okay, I did confirm we absolutely don't need this. So this is just gonna be account owner list ID. Okay, now these list items are all for specific lists. List dot entry. Yes, list. Count types? No, core types. It's not useful. Group entry. Okay, so what do we have here to work with? Don't have anything. Yeah, we're just assuming that it's all part of the same list. That makes sense. So we don't need that. This entries store. Tree item. Okay, so that should be good. And then this is going to be a new object. What? List ID equals list store instance ID. And then here we can plug in the owner and the list ID. And then this should make some things a little easier to read. Probably here as well. Store ID. Sync version. And then, nope. This, no, ID. Okay. The existing. This is list entries, data store. Okay, so the existing one. If we're removing something that never existed, skip the change. Okay, still on board with that. Ignore any change the user made before another change made afterwards that already got committed. I am on board with that. There's can't delete. That should already be prevented. So don't need to do any of this. Don't have any of this. And then this is going to be entries. Data store, we're passing in the new list entry, persisting that. And then this is going to be account and list store ID. Stop here if there are no changes. Okay, we save the sync. And then we can go ahead and build out the page. And if there were changes, then we'll go ahead and queue a background notification for lists and just figure it out from there. To pass the owner and list ID. Yeah, probably will need to, but let's deal with that separately. Okay, so this gives us a more or less complete implementation for loading or for making changes to lists. Okay, I think that's good. Let's just flush these out. I'll probably do tests tomorrow. Tests are for tomorrow me to deal with. Okay, let's find this. So that's a sync example. This is a commit example. Commit example is very simple. Just going to replace that. Commit list and tree changes. The commit request lists entries. Decode request. Okay, that is looking excellent. Now, the slightly more complicated one, which is not really that much more complicated. Excuse me. Sync list entry decoded request. List entries. Okay, and then this is list store ID. Okay. This is the list entry status store by cursor. The cursor. And then the cursor is going to be store ID. Okay. And this is a list entry. Which we don't need to fill anything in. So it's just the item. Okay, and then the response is going to be a synced list entries encoded response. Love it. Love it when it all comes together like that. Sync cursor is just a regular sync cursor. This will probably rename to like anonymous sync cursor or something like that. Because eventually that's what I want to do with it. Okay, what I did learn is we don't need an account. Okay, that's good so far. The only thing I'm not quite satisfied with is this. But the alternative is to say, like, if the changes are empty, just take an alternative approach. And then this always assumes they aren't empty. Okay. Yeah, it's just gonna duplicate all of this to save 3 lines. I don't think that's worth it. Make sure changes to lists not by the current user current name. If changes to lists if a list not owned by the current user is being accessed, make sure no changes. Fix it early and make sure no changes are being made. This belongs to the user because we made sure user and owner are the same thing. And notifications only if changes were made. Send notifications to subscribers as well. Yeah, because otherwise subscribers won't know that you made a change to your list. Like, we'll need to tell them. Mark the list as dirty. As a signal or new entries. Something to ponder. Okay, this is her owner. This is each list. I'll say like, hey, something about this list changed, which is better than oh, we'll be loading all the lists and then just iteratively checking each of them. Did this one change? Did this one change? This one change? And so on and so forth. Like it's not. Well, no, we're not loading all lists. We're just getting, hey, these 3 lists were updated. So then we update their records and then also mark them as dirty on the client side. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much convinced. We want to mark the list as dirty and use it as a signal. Client side that new entries exist. Notification. This also ensures notifications get sent out. Yeah, then this might not need to exist. Okay, so let's save these changes. That's all the same. Don't need this. At least not yet. Added support for syncing and committing list entry changes. Okay, so here. If there were no changes, we stop. If there was a change, then let's just mark. So have our less sync cursor. Nice. I'm gonna wait. List. Now start out low. Starting. List instance dot is dirty. Sure. Okay, we're marking it as dirty. List door. No. Persist. We're gonna need. Are we always gonna need it? No, we're only gonna need. Yeah, because this is a signal that it's been deleted, and nothing happened there. So it's essentially the same. Except we did load the next sync version. Unnecessarily, I guess. Yeah, because we always want to do this check. There are no changes, none of it matters. Okay. There are changes, then we can always assume this. And that saves us from needing to redo that. And then that means this can be a let. And we're not pulling a transaction, which is a benefit. Being attempted. Open permission. Okay, now we have a sync cursor, which we want to find there. We can also load the list because we know this is sync cursor first. know it's our list instance. This equals. Okay. List. Okay, we have everything we need. Okay. The list instance, we're marking it as dirty. We're saving that. We never even needed the list itself. And then the listing cursor, we've updated. This is the one that belongs. Does it belong? Yes, it belongs to that user. Good, let's change. Yep, we're committing the sync cursor for that current version. Sync version this time. Yeah, that's all the same. And then we can go ahead and invalidate. Okay, load filter. just want to, like, does it have a first entry? That's mostly what I'm curious about. Oh boy. As other cursor. Add other cursors. And another task. So if this is locked up, it will not be. This doesn't have anything useful. It gets to this point, and then it's forced to grab a new lock, so it's always on the next persistence. It's always on the next transaction. Yeah, should be fine. Yeah, we need this for the other devices. Ignore that. Okay, and then we send this. These changes got made. If there are other subscribers, mark the list as dirty and use as a signal client side that new entries exist for those users. Either way, always update the cursor for this user. Their devices see the change. Okay, I think that should be good. file. Is that really shorter? No, because there's a huge discrepancy. Also, this is longer. Here. 5 minus 591. 184 difference. It's the exact same length. And we don't need to pass the owner list. Added support for sending notifications when list entries change. To other devices and subscribers. I don't need this. And I just got a bunch of Jiiiii notifications. Completely unrelated. But I think that's good for today. So let's summarize what we did. Fix a silly implementation of comparable that was giving, or that was causing the bug, and added insert syncing list entries tomorrow. I think I'm available during the day. Tomorrow, let's add unit tests to make sure this all works. See you then. Bye.